toss it all. Ashes, yeah, let them bitches fall. I've been way better than before. Posted with my cash standing tall. Hey yo, watch this. Got a foreign gold switching for my necklace. Got $100,000 on my checklist. All the money you made, that's my work sweat. You ain't learning. I be a person. I be making money fast. They be so determined. I be working every day. Yeah, I'm up on my circuit. Get me another diamond chain, made it from the surface. I been hurting. Would you live with me? Straight till the end. Baby, don't leave my back. I'm too spent. This is what I got, yeah, it's how it been. But that's okay, cause I'm making it. Don't like me, well, I'm on the road. High speed, chase, that's what I love. Can't see what I can't control. Did it once, yeah, do it once again. Watch my father, yeah, he taught me how to win. Car new Prada, money taught me how to spin. Waves like water, music taught me how to swim. I'ma fill my bottle way up to the brim.
Toss it all. Ashes, yeah, let them bitches fall. I've been way better than before. Posted with my cash till it's all.
You said some things you didn't mean. I'm sure I did that too. Oh, baby. Egos clashing, dreams crashing. Whatever happened to me and you? From lovers to strangers. When everything changes. Oh, baby. When we tear out the pages. And only one word is left. Please let's just be quiet until the next riot. Just give us some time for the wounds to heal. What is broken is broken. Let's just leave it for now. We need some perspective to understand how what is broken for now. What is broken for now. I think we both need to grow so that we need not to know. Maybe doubt, maybe ask, maybe understand at last. From knowing to asking, from tearing to building, from thinking to feeling, from hurting to healing. Please let's just be quiet and let the silence speak. Oh, baby. Just give us some time for the wounds to heal. What is broken is broken. Let's just leave it for now. We need some perspective just to understand how what is broken for now. But maybe tomorrow we will know how. Yes, maybe tomorrow we will know how. Oh, maybe tomorrow we will know how.
Wait, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Oh my god, you are such a pathetic piece of shit. Shame on you. Shame on you, you fucking liar. You fucking filth. You fucking absolute dog shit. You fucking piece of shit. You fucking garbage motherfucker. What a fucking liar. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. What a fucking measly little, holy shit. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you. You fucking piece of shit. You fucking garbage motherfucker. I cannot believe it. You fucking piece of garbage. You know these motherfuckers are such liars, dude. I despise these people so much. God, why are you such a fucking horrible monster, dude? Shame on you, and shame on your fucking parents for literally bringing to this world such pathetic, filthy spawn. You disgusting, vile piece of garbage. What a fucking liar. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. What a fucking measly little, holy shit. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you. Oh my god. Oh, this is disgusting. So fucking disgusting. What a pathetic worm, dude. Shit, dude. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Disgusting. You disgust me, dude. Hashtag my dick, dude. Lying for clout ass motherfucker, dude. What a fucking liar. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little, holy shit. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you. What a fucking liar. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little, holy shit. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you.
Do not come. Do not come.
Okay, this is the most disappointing video I've ever seen. She literally attacked the two things that I like. I'm a coomer.
She says that she loves me, she just wants to fuck me. Got me feeling something, got me feeling nothing. Alcoholic junkie, says she thinks I'm funny. Think I might get lucky, spending too much money. She says she wants my necklace, put her on the guest list. Hope I don't regret this, hope I don't regret this. I'm feeling hella reckless, cashing all my checks rich. Hickeys on my neck, shit, she's on the offensive. I do not know my set list, still I'm gonna get lit. Yeah, I have a death wish, live until I'm breathless. I'ma stay progressive, she gon' stay obsessive. Life is so expensive, do everything excessive. I think my brain's defective, yeah. Can't think when she's aggressive, yeah. She snuck into my section, yeah. You think I'd learn my lesson, yeah. And we ain't getting no sleep. These girls don't even know me. Like Drake, I'm getting trophies. You want it, girl, then show me, yeah. And we ain't getting no sleep. These girls don't even know me. Like Drake, I'm getting trophies. You want it, girl, then show me. Cause we ain't getting no sleep, yeah. No, we ain't getting no sleep, yeah. She's sitting up in the front of the class, using that ass, she gonna pass. Keeping her pad and her pen in her lap. She been so bad with the men in her past. Now she just want the professor so bad. I'll give her lessons that she never had, like taking a freshman and teaching her math. I'll keep her guessing until she a grad. She always leaves them guessing, they don't know what's next, man. Learned it from the best, man. She loving every lesson, with hands-on sessions, points for attendance. She asks a lot of questions, I answer with my presence. I sit back while I'm texting, said she wants to get in, said she'll bring her best friend. Know what happened next, man. You know what happened next, man. Treat her like a guest, man. Rolling out the best, man. She had a confession, yeah. She wanna stay for a minute, she wanna play for a minute, she wanna slay for a minute, and now I'm all up in it. I'll be back in a minute, I'll be back in a minute, make a track in a minute, and now I'm all up in it. No sleep. These girls don't even know me. Like Drake, I'm getting trophies. You want it, girl, then show me, yeah. And we ain't getting no sleep. These girls don't even know me. Like Drake, I'm getting trophies. You want it, girl, then show me. Cause we ain't getting no sleep, yeah. No, we ain't getting no sleep, yeah.
Dojo, not again.
I'm trying to make my mama proud, yeah, that's for sure. Landed in the city, but my heart is on the coast. I don't wanna look back what my life was like before. I just took a red-eye, penthouse, top floor. In the stew, I got a spazzo. Back up in my bag, get the rackets and I cash out. I've been running laps, I don't got time to relax now. I just took a chance, wasn't looking for no handouts. Oh, they like proud of how we do this. I've been with my brothers in the hills, we going stupid. I can't stop, I've been different, always knew this. Trying to turn them Bordens into Benjis, needing blue strips. Oh,
Walking on the floor of this site, no one protects me. Wanna show shawty my heart, she wanna text me. All this love I felt was a curse, I wanna XD. Going crazy, all of my nerves, who does to check me? All this fun, baby, why you gotta leave me on? Had to drop a bag on her when she gone. But I'm running with my clique, yeah, they got me till I fall. Complaining if a bag's worth more than your love, yeah, yeah. Feel my moment, yeah, yeah. I'm the chosen, yeah, yeah. I'm the one inside.
in the stew, I got a spazzo. Back up in my bag, get the rackets and I cash out. I've been running laps, I don't got time to relax now. I just took a chance, wasn't looking for no handouts. Oh, they like proud of how we do this. I've been with my brothers in the hills, we going stupid. I can't stop, I've been different, always knew this. Trying to turn them Bordens into Benjis, needing blue strips. Oh,
Henny got me wasted. You done cut the yola, I can taste it. Biting on my swag, you niggas pussy tryna trace it. I don't need your love, I took a perk and I replaced it. I'ma keep on going till my mama said I made it. Black and yellow, white, I got thotties, different races. Did my dirt, I had a match, I'm moving faceless. I got 12 plotting on me, but no cases. Running from my demons, lacing on my A6. I don't do that fake shit, nah. The way they treat me, they act like I'm feeling them. So I got a script, I was just trying to feel something. Now I'm alone, you don't care, and
in
I
the stew,
feel
I got a
numb.
spazzo. Back up in my bag, get the rackets and I cash out. I've been running laps, I don't got time to relax now. I just took a chance, wasn't looking windows. Oh, they like proud of how we do this. I've been with my brothers in the hills, we going stupid. I can't stop, I've been different, always knew this. Trying to turn them Bordens into Benjis, needing blue strips. Oh.
We are better because we want to be.
Hi.
Because the road to hell
Hello. Hey, hi, hello. What's up, internet? How's it going out there? I hope everyone is doing well. Having a good day. I'm pretty good. Chilling. I have tapped into the Mr. Beast fans. I've cracked the algorithm. They hate me so fucking much. They keep pointing out how many subs I have. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, 168 subs, what are you gonna do? Like, I don't know. Get 1,000 views? Let's see you do it. I don't... Oh my god. They're so fucking... I really don't understand the whole thing. I don't understand the obsession with Mr. Beast. I don't get it. Like, today he did a video where he just did arson and threw a bunch of vehicles and trains and other shit down a giant pit for fun. Guess that's like rich people shit. I wouldn't know about it. Just blowing up an entire house for fun. Like 1,000 pounds of TNT for fun. 100,000 fireworks inside of a house for fun. And they fucking eat that shit up. They love it. But God forbid I say that he does crackitalism. Oh my god. I should have expected. Mr. Beast fans are the fucking worst. Just the worst. It is exhausting. I'm gonna have to give it up. Can't look at my comments anymore, I guess. Best way to grow, sadly. They hate mobs. Yeah. Use their juice. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't be surprised about all the misogyny in Mr. Beast audience. After the whole Chris thing. But they're so stupid. It's so hard. They're so fucking stupid. Oh my god. I still need to edit my new video. I don't know how, like, to get through this, like, 4 hours of footage. That shit's gonna take me so fucking long. I don't know what to do about that. I might have to just give up. It's about the Ana Kasparian TYT stuff. There's been so much that happened. Most of it's, Oleami's live stream with, like, Leftist Mafia, and Benny showed up, and Juniper. What else? Soul Bunny? Soul Bunny. Oh. God, I'm so tired, though, too. I like stayed up late trying to do that, and I didn't get very much done at all. Like barely anything. I got the sequence composed of the 3 different streams that I covered it, but so much more to do. So much more. Oh god. I feel like I'm like lost without Hassan. I miss him so much. I guess he streamed yesterday, but it was only like 2 hours and it was kind of shit. I guess he broke a rib. He and Austin were in a go-kart accident. I don't know what the fuck. Oh god. Yeah, I feel like I don't even know what's going on. So I thought we would just do a fun thing. Oh yeah, I was responding to comments and forgot to pull up the ghost stuff. Oops. Or tired. I'm stuck in a cycle. I'm really just like such a night owl, but it's too much to do. I like haven't even been able to sleep very much. I like to sleep like fucking like 12 hours, personally. I know it's like too much, like that's like probably like not good for you, but I like it. That's how I feel best. Like at least 12 hours. Such a sleepy bitch. I think it's probably like the anemia and stuff, but there's never enough time. Not enough time in the world. Oh yeah, Queef Jerky made this banger song. So sick. It's like a meme song, but it's actually good.
I need white noise to sleep. I need a sleep mask on me. I shoot my gun like pow pow pow. I shoot my shout like how are yow. Salmon's a superfood. Salmon's a superfood. You are just super rude. I took a super nude for $5.
Hi Dapper, welcome in. It's good. How are you?
How about you? I'm on prime TV. I eat a prime rib early.
Oh, the new Meat Canyon. True.
Just to feed me. I eat just cause I need me. Toss all across the creek, and I do it every day, Monday through Friday, every week, and I just do it every month, March, February,
I'm about to go in, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all, actually.
I go to Naples,
pineapple upside down, yeah, in the toilet, I make a brown, yeah, in the ocean, yeah, I drown, yeah, make some motion to the sound, yeah, 90-day fiance, more like 90-day chimpanzee, go to the zoo and see some fish, go to the well and make a wish.
In reality, I got a lot of free time. Yeah. In reality, I'm sponsored by a wine company, so I got a lot of free wine. And I'm sponsored by a lot of watermelon companies, so I eat a lot of free rinds.
Pineapple upside down, yeah. In the toilet, I make a brown, yeah.
At my wedding, I won't wear a gown, yeah. I would rather wear Lady Gaga meat dress. Tickle the president for the free press. Put him in a bath to get his feet wet. Take him to Five Guys, that's what she said. That's amore, yeah, I speak French. But I'm up and boring, I have to read a story. Let's happens what I'm snorting. I'm in the recording. But I'm up and boring, I have to read a story. Let's happens what I'm snorting. I'm in the recording.
fucking good. They're so fucking cute. I'm scared. Oh my god. Meat Canyon like actually like genuinely scares me. Um Hi Ren. Haven't. Check it out. Yeah, I think I do believe in ghosts. Like I'm kind of skeptical, but like I do think there's like certain like energies that like we might be able to like perceive in some ways. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many stories. Many stories, and I've had like I don't know, encounters, I guess. Nothing like I haven't seen anything. Well, I guess I did when I was a kid. I don't remember it happening, but I've heard stories. But like loud ass noises in my house when no one's home. Like that could not be like a mouse or something. Like shit like that or like random like just chills that like happen for no reason. No ghosts, no gods, no afterlife. And that should scare you more, quite frankly. I mean, yeah. I think that is like the thing. I would prefer if there were ghosts. I can admit that. I can admit it might be wishful thinking, but there's just so many stories, you know. Alternative with a lot of meaning. Talented. All right, thank you. All right. I'm scared.
Hey,
I'm so
it's
scared.
been a while since you've last seen my face. I haven't been doing too well, so I took a break. A lot of people are saying things about me that aren't quite true, so I thought I would make this song to clear all the air. All aboard! Logan Paul?
The way he made her so bony, because she like made a comment about that, like, yeah, you look really skinny, like in grass. I don't know, dude. This is like almost like a parody of like eating disorders, I guess. Like, I don't know how I feel about that, but like, I'm not here defending Colleen.
Colleen, you don't have to apologize. You can vaguely take accountability, and that should be more than fine. People will use your demise to benefit themselves. Public perception can easily be changed. Just, sell some energy drinks or fight in a cage.
Well, okay.
Meat Canyon's new merch. I'm a part of the fucking problem. Meat Canyon's new merch.
I gotta plug this in at some point. No way! James Charles, Jeffree Star, and Shane Dawson?
Colleen, I've done some bad things too, but views are up, brand deals too.
People forget, it's just a thing of the past. I swear I've done nothing with those cats.
Don't worry, time heals the soul. Your misdeeds will only get old. Rebuild yourself and hit the sack. Just don't forget to check all the people's IDs when you come back.
You gotta check the IDs. I'll certainly try to keep that in mind. Thank you all for helping me. This has been so refreshing to know that in just a short amount of time, no one will care. And that there's awesome merch.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Why is that so perfect? Why was that so perfect? Because everyone was talking about how this was worse than all of those people's apologies. Oh, God, Meat Canyon did it again.
Over at meatcanyon.store. Wow, that's really cool.
And it's an ad.
David and Sienna?
Just give it time, Colleen, you won't go broke. Badu, badu. Try some new platforms, Snapchat, TikTok, or Rumble. Badu, badu. Just be sure to let the crocodile tears flow. Badu, badu. Then head over to meatcanyon.store. Meatcanyon.store. Meatcanyon.store.
This is his most horrifying vid yet.
Meatcanyon.store. Meatcanyon.store.
It's not even gonna get scarier, is it? Like this is the scary part.
Well, looks like there's a bunch more people trying to get in here. I'll be seeing you real soon.
Meat Canyon's new merch. I'm a part of the fucking problem. Meat Canyon's new merch. I gotta plug this in at some point.
Stop. I love that the entire thing was an ad. I love it. A real legend, really. I want some merch too. I would fucking love some Meat Canyon merch. Legend. Okay, spooky time. Spooky, spooky, scary time. Oh my god, they're still going. How is he the bad guy?
I've been hiking on the Appalachian Trail for the better part of 30 years now, and I've had plenty of hair-raising run-ins that I don't care to repeat. I've come face to face with black bears and their cubs, which, as any experienced person will tell you, is about as close to staring.
What happened to it? Where'd it go? Oh, is it
I've been hiking on the Appalachian Trail for the better part of 30 years now, and I've had plenty of hair. Not Mincy off our list, or as the thing.
Wait. What?
Flashlight at the ready, and never would I have guessed in a million years what I was about to see. I figured I may see some of those.
This is a new video. Maybe it's just fucked up. Yeah. Doesn't sound like a really good. I mean, Bedtime Stories is okay. Just kind of sleeper. Oh. Hello. Hello. Hi, Ren. Weird. I know. I know. Oh, is that what you want? Oh, okay. You know them? Anything in specific? Okay, I did not see that coming. Something horrible, yeah.
Hi there, Ran. It's been a little while. Did you miss me? You thought you buried me, didn't you? Risky. Cause I always come back. Deep down, you know that. Deep down, you know I'm always in periphery. Ran, on your pleased to see me. It's been weeks since we spoke, bro. I know you need me. You're the sheep, I'm the shepherd. Not your place to lead me. Not your place to be biting off the hand that feeds me. Hi, Ran. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself since my therapist told me I'm ill. And I've been making some progress lately. and I've learned some new coping skills. So I haven't really needed you much, man. I think we need to just step back and chill. Ren, you sound more insane than I do. You think that those doctors are really there to guide you? Been through this a million times. Your civilian mind is so perfect to always being lied to. Okay, take another pill, boy. Drown yourself in the sound of white noise. Follow this 10-step program, rejoice. All your problems will be gone. Fucking dumb boy. Nah, mate. This time is different, man. Trust me. I feel like things might be falling in place. And my music's been kinda doing bits too. Like I actually might do something great. And when I'm gone, maybe I'll be remembered for doing something special with myself. That's why I don't think that we should talk, man. Cause when you're with me, it never seems to help. You think that you can amputate me? I am you, you are me, you are I am we are one. Split in two, that makes one, so you see. You gotta kill you if you wanna kill me. I'm not leftover dinner, I'm not scraps on the side. Oh, your music is thriving, delusional guy. Where's your top 10 hit? Where's your interview with Oprah? Where are your Grammys, Ren? Nowhere. Yeah, but my music's not commercial like that. I never chase numbers, statistics or stats. I never write hooks for the radio, they never even play me, so why would I concern myself with that? But my music is really connecting, and the people who find it respect it. And for me that's enough, cause this life's been tough, so it gives me a purpose I can rest in. Man, you sound so pretentious. Ren, your music is so self-centered. No one wants to hear another song about how much you hate yourself. Trust me. You should be so lucky, having me inside you to guide you, remind you to manage expectations, provide you perspective. That thing you neglected, I get it. You wanna be a big deal, next Jimi Hendrix, forget it. Man, it's not like that. Man, it's just like that. I'm inside you, you twat. No, it's not, man, you're wrong. When I write, I belong. Let me break the fourth wall by acknowledging this song. Ren sits down, has a stroke of genius. He wants to write a song that was not done previous. A battle with his subconscious, Eminem did it. Played on guitar, Plan B did it. Man, you're not original, you criminal rip-off artist. The pinnacle of your success is stealing other people's material. Ren, mate, we've heard it all before. She sells seashells on the seashore. Fuck you, I don't need you, I don't need to hear this. Cause I'm fine by myself, I'm a genius. And I will be great, and I will make waves, and I'll shake up the whole world beneath us. That's right, speak your truth, your fucking God complex leaks out of you. It's refreshing to actually hear you say it instead of downplay it. Music is all about the creative process, and if people can find something to relate to within that, then that's just a bonus. Fuck you, I'ma fucking kill you, Ren. Well, fucking kill me then, let's fucking have you, Ren. I'ma do it, watch me prove it. Who are you to doubt my music? Cause I call the shots, I choose if you die. Yeah, I call the shots and so I choose who survives. I'll tie you up in knots when I lock you inside. Newsflash, I was created at the dawn of creation. I am temptation. I am the snake in Eden. I am the reason for treason. Beheading all kings, I am sin, with no rhyme or reason. Son of the morning,
Real
Lucifer, Antichrist,
shit.
father of lies. Mephistophelies, truth in a blender, deceitful pretender, the banished avenger, the righteous surrender when standing in front of my solar.
It's literally if Eminem was a theater kid, and I'm kind of living for it. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? I love it.
Clips, my name is stitched to your lips, so you see, I won't bow to the will of a mortal. Feeble and normal, you wanna kill me? I'm eternal immortal. I live in every decision that catalyzes chaos, that causes division. I live inside death, the beginning of ends. I am you, you are me, I am you, Ren. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself, and I've spent half my life ill. But just as sure as the tide starts turning, just as sure as the night has dawned, just as sure as the rainfall soon runs dry when you stand in an eye of a storm. I was made to be tested and twisted. I was made to be broken and beat. I was made by his hand, it's all part of his plan that I stand on my own 2 feet. And you know me, my will is eternal. And you know me, you've met me before. Face to face with a beast, I will rise from the east and I'll settle on the ocean floor. And I go by many names also. Some people know me as hope. Some people know me as the voice that you hear when you loosen the noose on the rope. And you know how I know that I'll prosper? Cause I stand here beside you today. I have stood in the flames that cremated my brain, and I didn't once flinch or shake. So cower at the man I've become when I sing from the top of my lungs, that I won't retire, I'll stand in your fire, inspire that me to be strong. And when I am gone I will rise in the music that I left behind. Ferocious, persistent, immortal like you, we're a coin to different side. When I was 17 years old, I shouted out into an empty room, into a blank canvas that I would defeat the forces of evil. And for the next 10 years of my life, I suffered the consequences, with autoimmunity, illness, and psychosis. As I got older,
He had Lyme disease? Holy. That's fucked.
I realized there were no real winners and there were no real losers in psychological warfare, but there were victims and there were students. It wasn't David versus Goliath. It was a pendulum, eternally swaying from the dark to the light. And the more intensely that the light shone, the darker the shadow it cast. It was never really a battle for me to win. It was an eternal dance. And like a dance, the more rigid I became, the harder it got. The more I cursed my clumsy footsteps, the more I struggled. So I got older, and I learned to relax. And I learned to soften, and that dance got easier. It is this eternal dance that separates human beings from angels, from demons, from gods. And I must not forget, we must not forget, that we are human beings.
So true, King. It's so artistic. I like that. Really beautiful. Diagnosis bipolar and depression took 10 years to sort. That's shitty. Canada undergoing stem cell treatment. Holy. I didn't know there was stem cells for Lyme disease. The last I heard about the treatment for Lyme disease, it was just like an intense round of fucking antibiotics or whatever. I think, right? Yeah. Sheesh. It's interesting how that would be diagnosed as bipolar. Curious. Your nightmare? Sure.
This has been heavily requested for a while now. A compilation of some of the stories I've read through the years that genuinely freaked me out the first time I read them. I was out doing a delivery one late night. It was probably the longest drive I've ever taken for a pizza delivery from the pizza place.
It's so long he suffered brain damage. Oh no. In bed about 23 hours a day. Yeah, Lyme disease can be brutal. I think what, Grimes had it? I think that's how I learned about like how shitty it is. But at least he's like getting treatment, you know?
Place I used to work at. It was a 20-minute drive, which isn't too crazy out where I live. Plus they ordered 4 large pies, so I figured it was a party and I'd get a much bigger tip. Navigating the dirt roads at night was always annoying though. I pulled up to the given address. It was some old, sketchy-looking building literally in the middle of a forest clearing. There were no cars parked anywhere, or any lights on. I put my car in park, and I called my boss. I asked him to reread the address at least 3 times to make sure I typed in the right place. I could tell he was in a really bad
Yeah, it was a good song, thank you.
mood, and he told me to at least knock on the door and check it out. He would normally get mad if we took back 1 pie, but I was afraid of what he would do if I brought back 4. I was insanely unnerved, but I got out anyway and forced myself to the front door of the building. There was no doorbell, so I just knocked really hard. I heard nothing, and didn't really expect to hear anything. I was extremely disappointed, not because nobody answered the door, but because I was realizing that it was all a waste of time and gas. I knocked 1 more time out of desperation, then began to hear some kind of rustling noises from inside the building. I knocked again, and yelled that I was the pizza guy. There was silence now. I felt a bit more uncomfortable now than before, but before I could turn around, I noticed something at the window. There was someone looking through the window.
Dude, pizza delivery guys are real heroes. Real American heroes.
I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. All I noticed were their eyes. Their eyes were open wider than I knew possible, staring intently at me. I was disturbed enough by this to drop the pizzas and run back to my car. The shitty thing wouldn't start until turning the key for the third time. I drove off the grass and back onto the dirt road, but I felt the car rocking about, shaking and bumping. Something wasn't right. I didn't make it far from the building before I started hearing a sharp scraping sound coming from outside. There was so much resistance that I couldn't even drive. The car came to a stop. I got out of the car to check what the hell was wrong. A chill ran up my spine as I began to feel like my heart was constantly skipping beats. My tires had been slashed and had completely fallen off the rim. Not just the front though, all 4 tires were slashed. I realized somebody did this when I was knocking on the door to that building. Instead of running, I got back in the car and locked the doors. I was so close to that building I could practically see it from where I was if it weren't for the trees blocking the view. I called 911 and told everything to the operator. She told me the cops would be over as soon as possible and that I need to stay hidden. I asked her if it's advisable to stay in the car or run, and she told me it would be best to stay in the car with the door locked. She asked me to stay on the line with her until the cops would arrive. My whole body was shaking. In all directions there was nothing but dark, seemingly endless forest. I knew it would take forever for the cops to get there. I was not comfortable with sitting in that car so close to whoever did this. The next part is what utterly destroyed me. It still shakes me to this day, and I hope nobody ever has to experience this kind of fear. As I was scanning all the windows, making sure nobody was outside, I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was the same person I saw at that window, eyes opened wider than ever. I could see now that it was a woman, and I could ever so slightly see a smile begin to spread across her face. I opened my door and full-on sprinted into the woods, not caring how much noise I made. I ran until I was out of breath, which didn't take long, and I hid behind a giant log on the ground. I tried to cover my loud breathing with my hand as I waited and waited for what felt like hours until I finally heard sirens in the distance. I gathered up all the stamina I had left to run all the way back in the direction of the dirt road. Eventually the glowing red and blue lights came into view, and I had never felt better in my life. They were parked in front of my car, investigating with flashlights. I came out yelling at them like a lunatic to help me. I fell to the floor and started to gag, almost throwing up from running so much. They picked me up and began to ask me questions, to which I explained everything to the best of my ability. One of the 2 cars drove over to the building, and the 2 officers began to search the building. They came back with nothing except for a couple of spiky objects. These objects were exactly the same as the ones used to slash my tires. The cops guessed that it was some kind of sick, demented couple, being that I saw the woman, but unfortunately, as far as I know, they were never found, and that still kills me inside to this day. I obviously quit my job right after that and started working at a local grocery store. I know that I'll never forget seeing that woman at the back of my car.
Fucking murder house, dude. You just almost got murdered. For a pizza delivery. Ain't no way, dude.
It's a little known common courtesy out in the mountains during a snowstorm that if someone's seeking shelter in your cabin, you let them in. No, I wasn't the one offering that courtesy to someone else in the story. I was the one seeking refuge. It was supposed to be a long weekend of hunting, but what started as a cold, sunny day quickly formed tons of dark storm clouds, and I quickly found myself right in the middle of a blizzard. After a full, rather unsuccessful day of hunting hares, I was way too far and disoriented to make my way back to my cabin. I had to seek refuge somewhere else. I came across a log cabin nestled between a circle of trees. No lights on, but I still had to try the door. I hit the door with my fist a few times. No answer, but I could hear footsteps on the other side, approaching the door. I expected it to open, but it didn't. I shouted that I'm lost and need shelter. The door cracked open, and I heard a voice say, "Come in, leave your boots by the door." I waited a bit, expecting him to open the door fully and formally greet me as anyone would, but that didn't happen, so I pushed the door open myself and entered the dark cabin. The room was lit.
No, I don't know. I think I'm dying. I'm not going in there. No, I'm not going in some random ass log cabin when the dude didn't even open the door. No.
By 2 candles, just enough for me to see the couch that the man then told me to sleep on. As for the man, all I saw was his silhouette on the far side of the room.
The little light from the candles didn't extend that far. I dropped my bag and gun on the floor and laid down on the couch. I thanked the man for letting me crash here till the storm blows over. He didn't answer. His behavior wasn't the most bizarre thing. Folks are strange up in the mountains. If he wasn't up for conversation, I'd just get some early shut-eye. I closed my eyes, though the level of darkness with my eyes closed wasn't much of a difference. I was subconsciously waiting to hear the man's footsteps leave the room, but they never did. I opened my eyes, and his silhouette was still in the corner of the room, just standing there. I felt the need to say, "Yeah, I think I'm just gonna get some sleep now, thanks." No response. I turned to my other side so that I wouldn't be tempted to just keep opening my eyes to check on him. Some time passed, but without having heard his footsteps walk away, the curiosity was eating away at me. I turned over to look again, and this time, I swear to God, the silhouette of the man was closer by at least a few feet. I couldn't make out his face, but the slight glow from the candles would just barely trickle around the man's forehead, and what I saw was disgustingly pale skin. I quickly gathered my belongings and thanked him.
Ew, he's white. I gotta get the fuck out of here. What?
But I said I had to go. I didn't look at him anymore, because I don't think I wanted to know what he looked like. I put my boots on outside and hurried back into the blizzard. I came across another cabin down the hill, this one with the lights on. I knocked on the door, and some old man and his wife answered the door. They welcomed me in immediately and were very inviting. They gave me some hot tea and offered me a spot on the couch. I told them my story about the freaky cabin up the hill, and the two looked at each other, puzzled. The woman confirmed 2 times the cabin I was talking about. Then she said, "Honey, the owner of that cabin was murdered 2 years ago. That cabin has been vacant ever since."
Ain't no way. It's always like that. Well, that cabin has been vacant for 20 years.
I'm 27 years old. I live alone in a rural town in Virginia, about 2 blocks away from my parents. My parents are both in their 60s, and my mom has become a very worrisome woman in her old age. Sometimes she walks over uninvited and lets herself in, since I had regrettably given her a key, which can get a bit annoying. Like if I would be out really late on weekends at a bar or with women, I would sometimes come home to my mom sitting in the living room waiting, worried sick. I know you may just think, "Oh my god, that's crazy, why not just put your foot down and tell her to stop?" Well, because you don't know my mom. It's very hard to describe her, but she's the kind of worrisome, innocent little lady that you just can't bring yourself to go against. And I hate to mention, she also has mild dementia. Anyway, this was Saturday night. I think it was around 2 in the morning. I was at a nearby club with a group of college friends, really the only place to hang out in this boring town, and I was getting ready to head home. I said goodbye to all my friends and walked the 3 blocks it took to get back to my house. I walked up my front stoop in my drunken haze and dug my hand in my pocket for my keys. When I grabbed the doorknob, I realized it was unlocked. My mom was here again. I quietly opened and shut the front door, locking it behind me. I put my keys on the kitchen counter and found a note written in my mom's handwriting saying, "You forgot this at our house, next to the box of half-eaten cake my parents didn't want." I didn't see my mom anywhere, so I assumed she must have gone upstairs to sleep in the guest bed until I got back, which is something she would commonly do as well. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, confirming it, and that's when I sighed once again. 27 years old, almost 3 in the morning, and she still has to wait up and treat me like a child. I ran upstairs to check the guest bed, empty, along with all the bathrooms. I was afraid Mom was having one of her episodes due to her condition.
All of the bathrooms? How many do you have?
So I ran to the phone to call my dad. After 4 rings, my dad picked up in a groggy voice, asking what the hell is the matter. After I told him that I heard Mom wandering around upstairs in my house, there was a short pause, and then he said, "That's not possible, she's sleeping right next to me."
Uh-oh.
My mouth fell open as I turned my head to face the dark upstairs, and just barely by the light provided by the kitchen, I could see a head peering around from the corner at the top of the stairs, looking down at me.
I screamed into the phone as I ran out the front door and down the street to my parents' house, explaining to my father on the way. About halfway there, my dad told me, "Alright, I'm gonna call the cops," and hung up.
No.
I made it to my parents' house,
Stay
where
on the
my
phone.
mom was already waiting at the door, worried sick. My mom explained that she did come over to clean my kitchen a little bit and to bring over the cake they didn't want. 2 police cars pulled up in front of my parents' house, where they escorted me and my dad down the street to my house. 1 officer stayed outside with us, while 2 others went inside to investigate. It felt like 15 minutes before they came back outside and said it was clear. They checked the crawl space, the attic, everything. There was really nothing for me to report, other than the door was left unlocked and I saw the outline of a head upstairs before I ran for it. Still, I didn't feel safe sleeping in there that night, so I went back to my parents' house. Me and my dad are certain that my mom simply forgot to lock the door when she left, as her memory has been getting worse over the past few months. My dad has been stopping her from coming over alone from now on, which makes me both sad but also relieved. Some nights, I still get paranoid that whoever was in my house that night never left, and is still hiding in here somewhere.
Creepy.
This is one of the few unexplainable events I've experienced in my life. I was home upstairs in my room, writing my paper for my history class. As far as I knew, I was home alone. But apparently I was mistaken, because my mom's voice called out from downstairs, yelling my name. I called back, "What?" She didn't answer, so, slightly annoyed because I didn't want to be interrupted from my train of thought on my paper, I reluctantly got up to go downstairs and see what she wanted. When I got downstairs, I looked around for my mom, but she wasn't anywhere in sight, so I yelled out, "Mom?" and she yelled back my name in response. Her voice came from down in the basement, so I went to the basement door. But strangely, the lights were off. I called down the stairs, "Mom?" again, and she called back. I yelled out, "What are you doing down there with the lights off?" She didn't respond. I flicked on the light and went down the stairs. I heard my mom call my name again as I was near to the bottom of the steps. It was getting weird. Each time she called my name, it sounded exactly the same, like there was zero difference in inflection every single time she said my name. I yelled out, "Mom," again, and she once again yelled back my name. She was nowhere to be seen in the basement, but then I noticed the little crawl space closet door was open. I call it that because it's a weird closet that you have to kind of crawl into, but it takes up a large chunk of the basement. That was the only place left in the basement that my mom could be. So I said, "Mom," one final time. No answer this time. I went closer to the closet door and got on my knees just to try and look in. It was pitch black inside, and I was starting to get freaked out. I said, "Mom, are you messing with me?" There was no response at all, just the quiet buzzing sound from the basement light. I got back up, and for some reason decided to sprint back upstairs, slamming and locking the basement door behind me.
You don't have to justify yourself, I know why. Some reason.
I didn't know what I had just witnessed and heard, but I went to grab the house phone and call my mom's cell number. It rang a few times until my mom picked up, and I learned that she was out grocery shopping. I told her, but she didn't believe my story, of course. She thought I was messing with her. It took half an hour of begging her to believe me that she finally went along with it, and when she and my dad were both home, we all went down to the basement together. The closet door was still open. My dad went inside, but there was no one in there. This still remains to be the most haunting, unexplainable experience of my life. There was this one time I was out late drinking with friends. It was some point in the summer of 2016. We were kind of just walking around town and then around the neighborhood when one of my friends spotted someone hiding in a bush. He pointed and said, "Look," and we all walked a little closer to get a better look. We could see what he was talking about, but just barely. It was bizarre, like someone hiding in this bush in front of this house. When we got too close, apparently, this weird, off-putting sound started coming from the bush. So we all screamed and laughed and ran away.
Ew, ew, I hate the sound effects. Don't do that. Don't do that, please. Ew.
We screamed because it was scary, but laughed because at the same time it was bizarrely funny. And there were a lot of us, so... Anyway, we walked back to our houses respectively, assuming whoever was in that bush was just messing with people. I fell asleep pretty easily that night since I was drunk, but next thing I remember was waking up to the near pitch blackness of my room. I couldn't look at the clock to see what time it was because I literally couldn't move. I was in a sleep paralysis state. I looked around the room with my eyes only and started to hear a familiar noise, the noise we heard coming from that bush. Then I looked straight in front of me at the foot of my bed, and what I saw was pure nightmare fuel. It was what appeared to be this floating, grotesque, horrific head of a demonic ghost-like thing. As it got closer to me, I realized it wasn't floating. There was a body, but its body blended in with the blackness of the room. Its mouth hung open, and it just kept making the familiar noise from the bush. It got mere inches from my face before it suddenly just faded away.
The sound is the worst. What is it? A pig?
And I was able to let out a scream and move my body. I sat in my bed, panting and heart racing. I flicked on the lamp and checked around my bed, but that demonic thing was gone. What I just experienced seemed so real, like I was awake for it. It wasn't a dream. I told my parents about it the next day, and they agreed with me that it was sleep paralysis, though they had never heard of anyone seeing freaky shit like that before.
Freaky shit like that before. That was mid. I want to be more scared. Police horror stories. The police are the horror story. Scary stories for sleep. The fuck? The fuck? For a bitter and restless night. Why is this 3 hours long? The fuck? Dun dun. Dun dun.
Back in 2014, I experienced something I still can't explain. I was still living at home at the time as an only child. I didn't have many friends or any hobbies to speak of, so I spent most of my free time surfing the internet and looking for anything that could hold my attention. On the weekends, I would wait for my parents to leave the house. Then, like most teenagers, I would use the alone time to browse through more devious content. On the night that this unexplainable thing happened, I was getting up to the same thing I always did. When I was finally home alone, I closed my door and drew my curtains, turned the lights off, and grabbed a box of tissues from the bathroom.
Oh my god.
In case I got a runny nose while I was watching what I was finally able to watch now that nobody was around. My parents said they would be gone all night, so I knew I could stay at it for as long as I wanted. Of course, that meant that there were quite a few soiled and crumpled up tissues tossed into the bin. But after a couple hours, I was pretty much drained and bored of just watching stuff by myself like I did every weekend, and I was starting to wish I had someone to talk to. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't have very many friends, and certainly nobody that I could call close. The handful of people I could think of to text never even read my messages, so rather than beg the people I sort of knew at the time to talk to me, I figured I'd have better luck with strangers. I had already known about Omegle for some time by then, mostly by watching YouTubers exploring all the different tags you can add to your search for new friends, but I'd never used it myself. I didn't have friends because of my social anxiety, and that bled over to video chatting too, which I wasn't super comfortable with in the beginning, especially since they were all strangers. But it was better than tossing tissues all night, and I figured there was no way I'd ever see any of the people I met more than once, let alone run into them in person, so I gave it a shot. Obviously, just like anyone else would see, my initial experience on Omegle was getting flooded by a bunch of creepy old men asking for my ASL. I skipped over all those guys, and it really felt like I was trudging through an endless ocean of them. But even when I found somebody who looked decent, I would get skipped by them. It was only my first time on Omegle, but if it was supposed to be a place where you could talk to people, then that night was not a good night for it. All the freaks and weirdos seemed to be out, and I was starting to lose hope that I would ever find anybody of interest. I thought about calling it quits, but then I felt like giving it just a few more tries. That's when I encountered the most unusual thing I'd seen all night. Whoever or whatever they were, someone or something, they were creepier than any run-of-the-mill offender on Omegle. I was immediately so petrified by the image in front of me that I couldn't even click away from it. I just kept staring at the screen, trying to figure out what in the world I was looking at. I couldn't tell if they were wearing some kind of mask or a bunch of weird makeup. They barely looked human, and if they were severely deranged. If I had to describe him, it looked like a male figure with deathly pale skin, dark sunken-in eyes, and a strange, scraggly haircut, like they were halfway dead.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably a prank, man.
And already starting to decompose. Then, out of the blue, the man started meowing, like he thought he was some sort of cat man.
The fuck?
Creeped me out, but I was still suspecting that I was getting pranked somehow, although I had no idea how any of this was supposed to be funny. Hello? What's up with you? Why don't you talk like a normal person? After I tried speaking to him, my computer screen started glitching out, and that's when the Catman jumped from his seat to his desk, landing backwards on all fours like it was about to start spider walking in front of the camera like the possessed girl from The Exorcist. It happened so fast that I flinched and fell off my chair, but I continued to watch from the floor, completely awestruck. The Catman stared right into the camera, except his face was upside down now from the position he was in. He was still meowing too, which just added to the uneasy feeling that was building about this whole situation. I'd seen so many horror movies and it felt like any one of them could come true at any moment. I half expected him to crawl out through the screen and reap my soul.
What the hell do you want? Why are you doing that? Do you think this is funny, sicko?
He didn't seem to care about what I said, and if he did, I think it was only upsetting him, because it was then that his head began to twitch as he slowly craned to the side until it was totally horizontal, all the while shrieking with one long meow, opening his mouth wider and wider to the point that it looked like he had inhumanly large set of jaws.
What the hell is the matter with you? Stop meowing at me!
I was horrified by whatever was about to happen next, but then the glitching of the screen got worse and uncontrollable, and eventually froze, locking up the whole computer and forcing it to crash.
This is obviously fake, but the creative writing is kind of funny.
I breathed a deep sigh of relief that the computer shut itself off. I was still dumbstruck in the darkness and sitting on the floor, so I have no idea how long I would have let that go on before I came to my senses and skipped that psycho. I eventually picked myself up and left my computer alone for the night, deciding to get some sleep and see if I couldn't forget the whole thing, or at least put some mental distance between me and it. It was difficult to get to sleep after being so shaken up, but I did get there after calming down for a little while. The next morning, things almost seemed alright. I could still vividly remember the strangeness of the Catman, his annoying meowing and corpse-like appearance, but other than that, everything seemed normal. That was, until I stood in front of the mirror before stepping into the shower and noticed the deep cat scratches all over my body.
Arnar.
In my freshman year of college, I still lived with my mom. It was a small house in Fontana, California, near where I went to school. I didn't need to live in a dorm to get to know everybody in my classes. That's what things like Instagram were for, and I was upping my popularity by letting all the people I met at school follow me. I kept my profile up to date with posts and stories every day, taking selfies from pretty much everywhere I went, whether I was at the movies, at a fast food place, in class, or even at home. That's just what everyone was doing, and I didn't want to alienate myself, but that's when I would soon regret that decision. One evening, after a long day of classes, I got home and did my usual routine of studying and having dinner with my mom. I eventually got into bed, ready to pass out. That was when I heard my phone buzz on the nightstand, right as I was on the verge of falling asleep. I figured it was probably nothing, but I reached over and checked the notification, just in case it was a text from someone important. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was just Instagram letting me know that I had another new follower. I was groggy and could barely read the username, but it was something like @JonathanW, and then a bunch of random numbers and characters. That, and the fact that they didn't have a profile
Man, aren't stalkers scary enough? Do we have to write fanfic about it?
picture made it clear that this was not somebody who went to school with me. My curiosity led me to check out his page, and so I did. I could see that he was following hundreds of accounts but didn't have a single follower of his own. There wasn't even a bio or a link to anything. However, there were a few posts on his account. As I began scrolling, I noticed all the posts were of the same thing, a confusingly close-up shot of some kind of cotton upholstery stapled onto wood planks, like he was some kind of construction worker. The only difference between any of them was that it looked like some of them were taken at night, while others were taken from the daytime. I figured the account was either just some bot or maybe some random weirdo, so I put down my phone and tried to go back to sleep. Not even a minute later, my phone buzzed again. This time when I checked, it was a DM from the same guy that read, "Hey baby." I immediately realized that it wasn't a bot, but an actual person. I decided to respond back with,
"Who's this?"
Admittedly, replying to him wasn't the best idea, but I wasn't thinking about the fact that he would be able to see when I read his messages after that. However, after a few minutes, he didn't respond with anything, so I put my phone down again and tried to get some sleep. I was just starting to doze off when I heard my phone. Yet again, this time, I ignored it. It annoyed me to think I was about to lose much needed sleep just to interact with some Instagram creep. I figured if I stopped reading his messages, he would get bored and move on like most of them do, but that wasn't the case. A minute later, there was another notification. My sleepiness was already spoiled by how irritated I was, so I checked it out with the intentions of blocking him. But what I saw made me realize that I was getting dragged into something far more serious than I had anticipated. He sent a candid picture of me at school. A chill ran down my spine. In the picture, I was in the outfit I was wearing earlier that day, but I had no idea I was being photographed by anybody but myself and my friends. He sent it with a caption that read, "Do you like this candid shot I got of you today?" All of a sudden, this situation with seemingly just a harmless weirdo turned into something far more terrifying. I didn't know what to do, so I sent him a harsh text cussing him out.
"Who the hell are you? Leave me the f*** alone or I'll send this to the cops!"
Then as soon as I sent the message, I blocked the account so he didn't have time to respond. I threw down my phone for the last time and tried to finally get some sleep, but I was so horrified thinking that I now had a stalker on my hands. I had no idea who he was or how long it had been going on, yet somehow I managed to put myself in enough denial about the whole thing and fell asleep. In the morning, however, I remember—
Yeah, scary enough. Scary enough. Like, I don't know if we need to write, like, a creepypasta about real life shit that's already scary. You know what I mean? Like,
remembered everything. I told my mom about the whole ordeal before I left the house, and I could tell she was concerned for me, but also just as clueless as I was. I talked to my friends about it at school, but none of them have ever dealt with anything like this before either. Thankfully, when I got home, my mom had this idea of setting up a couple of home security cameras around the house. Neither of us knew what this creep was capable of, so she figured we'd have the extra measure of safety to help me feel safer. We made sure to put one of the cameras in my bedroom just before I went to bed for the night. I laid down and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I was strangely feeling comfortable, like maybe nothing was that wrong after all. But just a few minutes after I turned off my lights, I heard my bedroom door creak open. I opened my eyes, and that's when I saw the man in his underwear standing in my doorway. I started screaming from the top of my lungs, and that's when the man suddenly lunged towards me. I began to kick and scream simultaneously, just to get the creep away from me. Thankfully, the sounds I was making were enough to make him turn around and run out of the house. My mom came storming into my room to my aid. We stayed in the bedroom with a chair leaning against the doorknob and immediately called the police. Somewhat unsurprisingly, the man didn't run very far. They caught him lurking in the neighbor's yard just a few doors down. We handed over the security footage to the police and told them everything we knew. And after a few days of investigating, we got the story they were able to put together. The man who snuck into my room was the same one who had been stalking me at school. He had developed an obsession over me and started taking pictures of me on campus, and then eventually started following me home. But the part that terrifies me the most was how he was never a construction worker. Those confusing pictures of wooden planks were just photos he took underneath my bed while I was sleeping in it. He had been sneaking into my house and hiding under my bed for weeks. All I know is that I'll always be on guard whenever a stranger sends me a DM or adds me on Instagram. I'm always paranoid if it's that guy again. Back in my 20s, I used to think very highly of myself. I was a young, slim brunette and would always think I was the main attraction in every room I stepped in. At the time, I lived on the 12th floor
Yo, Meat Canyon? Is this your art?
of an apartment complex. I can recall always seeing people like my neighbors and other patrons around the building checking me out. I was always being catcalled, but did no more than give them a courteous nod. It took some getting used to, until one night, I got inside and began to situate myself. Then I sat in front of my vanity and started to do my usual skincare routine.
You are beautiful, no matter what they say. 'Cause words can't bring me down.
No! No! How dare you say someone will eventually take your place? That'll never happen, you hear me?
The next day was like every other day. I would always run errands and have random pedestrians look at me wherever I went. This varied from single men to taken men to even married men. However, I had this nagging feeling of dissatisfaction as I wasn't turning as much heads as I would have liked to. When I arrived home, I immediately glanced at the mirror, angered at my disheveled appearance. Then, as I approached closer to my reflection, I felt as if the answer was right in front of me. I wasn't going to stay young forever, and I was afraid to lose all the beauty I possessed.
No! This can't be happening to me!
Then, as I scrutinized my face in the mirror, I noticed some wrinkles forming and my face slightly sagging. I panicked, my hands trembling in apprehension. I then grabbed my brush and started frantically combing my hair. As I said,
I gotta do it. I must do it. I will do it.
Then, without a hinge of reluctance, I decided to undergo plastic surgery. The next day, I began seeking consultation from medical pundits, but unfortunately, they all told me the same thing, that
Medical pundits. I feel like this is just an incel, like, LARPing through a creepypasta.
I didn't need it and that overdoing it could increase my health risk, resulting in irreversible damage. However, no matter what they say, I constantly refused, hollering,
I didn't come here to get rejected. I'm willing to pay you any amount. Just give me what I want.
Miss Hannah, it's not just about the money. If we proceed, you might—
I don't care. Just get it done.
I slammed my fist on the table, frightening the doctors. So, unable to persuade me, we inevitably went through with the operation. And after grueling hours of sedation, lying flat on the operation table, I finally woke up, my head wrapped in bandages. Upon arriving home, I noticed the watchful eyes of my neighbors, who were probably curious about what had happened to me. Little did they know that, enclosed in this cocoon, was the most beautiful butterfly just waiting to reveal itself. So, as I waited for my face to heal, I was filled with anticipation, visualizing myself stepping on the false representation of beauty that I saw in other women.
Just wait and see. After this, I'll be the hottest girl around town.
Then, when When it eventually came time for the big reveal, I stripped away the bandages like a fascinating creature coming out of its shell and went out into the streets to display the final stage of my metamorphosis. So, as I entered the grocery store, I earned a couple of stares and compliments, and as expected, some of the guys approached me, asking if I was single or if they could get my number. Needless to say, it was flattering. However, as I went home, I was flustered, feeling my temperature rise again. I still wasn't satisfied with the public's perception of me. I felt as if I wasn't turning enough heads as I would have anticipated, despite my best efforts. Without looking into the mirror, I knew my face was turning red because I could feel the blood coursing through my veins, boiling with agitation. So, releasing my pent-up frustration, I said,
No, this can't be happening!
My body quivered as I told myself,
It's not enough. I need more! 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 More!
My yearning for perfection had driven me to
More! Give me more surgeries! Yeah, this all reeks of incel authoredom.
undergo more plastic surgeries. Despite the doctor's constant opposition, eventually, I had more work done until I underwent 20 various procedures. At some point, the doctors refused to take me in as their patient, wary of the damage I might cause to their reputation should future operations fail. I loathe such people, successful yet self-centered pricks who always thought they could boss me around. But no, it's unacceptable. I went on a rampage and eventually
You're gonna turn into the Hulk.
I was escorted out of the hospital and banned from ever returning. So, when I arrived home, I sat on the front of my vanity and began to cry. But as tears poured down my face, I laughed like a lunatic, infuriated by the doctors who had the audacity to refuse me. I paced myself apprehensively as I thought of what to do next. At that moment, I was drowning in anxiety, visualizing myself as an invisible woman that people would bump into without ever noticing me. So, without a doubt, I searched the black market, bought what I needed, put my latex gloves on, and did the deed. The following day, I was getting ready to step outside of the house to display a kind of beauty that was unparalleled. That was until someone knocked on my door. Upon opening it, I noticed it was the neighbor from down the hallway. However, instead of coming closer, he had this horrific look on his face, as if he had seen a ghost. Offended, I asked,
Why are you looking at me like that?
Stupid neighbor. I can't stand beta men like him. You are beautiful, no matter what they say, 'cause words can...
Yeah, an incel definitely fucking wrote this shit.
And bring me down.
This story was inspired by a 28-year-old woman who was a successful model and singer. Before her descent into plastic surgery addiction, there were multiple doctors that refused to work on her anymore. Before she took matters into her own hands, she then returned to Korea. Her parents could not recognize her. She has since received psychiatric help.
Come on, man. Why is it so real? Jesus, what are these shorts? The fuck? Fuck? Ooh, doorbell camera footage? Dude, these are always so fucked up. I know a lot of them are probably fake, but a lot of them seem real.
This footage was captured in Flint, Michigan on April 24th, 2023. The house had 2 Ring cameras, one above the garage and the other was a Ring doorbell camera. Around 10 p.m., a man in a red jacket and another person just behind him are shown walking up to the house's front door. Before knocking or ringing the doorbell, the man in the jacket immediately starts trying to break down the door. Ring camera falls to the ground from the impacts, but the door itself doesn't budge. After those few seconds, the man walks around to the house's side door and again immediately starts trying to break it down. By this point, the homeowner had woken up in a panic and was checking their camera's feed for an explanation. They noticed their doorbell camera on the ground, and so they switched over to their other camera. As the banging noise rang out throughout the house, they could now see what was causing it. The homeowner's voice coming over the speaker was enough to scare the two men off. Police were called out to the property. When they reviewed the footage, they noted that one of the men was armed. What these two men planned to do with the people inside if they had successfully broken in is unknown. It's unclear if they were ever identified by police. This clip was captured at 3 in the morning on April 9th, 2023. It happened in Albuquerque,
Woman is zooted.
in New Mexico. The homeowner was sleeping when the clip was recorded. It wasn't until he woke up and saw a notification on his phone that he found out about it. He reviewed the footage, horrified. This is what he saw. A woman is shown trying multiple different keys to get into the house and even looking around for a hidden one. The homeowner claimed that he had never seen this woman before. He said that she later started throwing rocks at his car and trying those locks. It's likely she was under the influence of—
Yeah, this shit just makes me sad. I can't do it. Totally horror stories with rain sounds. Well, if there's rain sounds. Chipotle is scary. It is scary.
I used to work at a Chipotle. One day, I was working a super long shift from the afternoon right up until closing time. The day had its usual everyday customers with people rushing in and out. It was really busy for most of the time. At one point, I noticed there was a guy sitting by himself in the corner. I didn't think much of it until I saw him again a couple of hours later and he was still there. The guy was wearing sunglasses inside, but that was really the only thing about him that stood out to me. That and the fact that he wasn't eating anything. He wasn't on a laptop either, he was just looking around. It was sort of weird. As the day progressed and the rush hour hit, the man blended in with the crowd of people. Because of this, there were times that I didn't know if he was still there or not. I mean, I was busy working and not just watching the guy the whole time. The night went on and things settled down again. Eventually, it was time to close. I looked up and yet again, he was still there. I couldn't tell if he noticed me looking because of the angles, and his sunglasses were so dimmed and the light reflecting made it nearly impossible to see what he was looking at. So what was crazy is that they chose me to go and kick this guy out who had been sitting there all day. I was super nervous, but I gathered my courage and went up to him. I walked out from behind the counter and over to the man in the corner. I said, excuse me, sir, and my voice totally gave away my nervousness. I told him that it was closing time, but he didn't say a word. He just stared at me through his sunglasses with this intense look that freaked me out. Then, in this really creepy silence, the guy slowly got up from his seat, gave one last look around the restaurant, and left without saying a single word. My heart was pounding like crazy, and I had this weird feeling. But I tried to shake it off and tell myself it was all in my head. I had done it, and he was finally leaving. So me and my coworkers started doing our closing routine and cleaning up. The place was now empty. 2 of my coworkers said their goodbyes and left, and it was just one other person and me left to finish everything. We focused on our tasks and mostly just cleaning. Then, out of the blue, there was this loud knocking on the front door that made us jump. The knocking kept getting louder and more insistent, like somebody really wanted to get in. Panic started to come back, and I went to go see who it was. When I did, I saw that it was the same creepy guy with shades. With shaky steps, I walked up to the door, my hand trembling as I reached for the doorknob. Deep down, I wanted to just ignore him, but I didn't. I was really curious as to why the man had returned. He knew that we were closed. I asked him what he wanted, and his reply was in the tone of a whisper. I left my wallet inside. I could barely hear him, but when I understood what he said, I assumed that he would just come inside, get his wallet, and then leave. I was about to open up the door, but I looked over at my coworker instead. She was shaking her head from behind the counter and mouthing for me to not let him in. She then started to walk over. As she did, she asked me what the man had been saying. I told her that he had left his wallet, and she asked me where the man had been sitting. I pointed over to the table in the corner, the same place where he was basically all day. The man then said, "Just let me in." My coworker looked all around the table and floor and said that there was no wallet there. I relayed that message to the man, who insisted it was and knew exactly where. However, I chose not to let him in. I stepped away from the door as he stared at me. The man then suddenly ran off into the night. I went over and looked out the window, and by then he was halfway across the parking lot. We searched very well, and there was certainly no wallet inside. I'm sure he was trying to trick us into letting him in, and then he would have done who knows what. It's been a while since this experience, and it still creeps me out every time I think about it. This happened about a year ago. It was around 9 p.m., and I was starving. I was craving Chipotle, and they were one of the only places still open. It was after 9 p.m., but the Chipotle didn't close until 10. I drove
This is really making me want some fucking Chipotle right now.
my SUV, the same car I've had since college, and parked a little ways away in the parking lot. As I pulled in, I saw that there were only 2 other cars there. I assumed they were likely the employees. This made me happy, and I knew that I wouldn't have to wait in line. I parked and then went inside. I ordered and was inside the restaurant for maybe a total of 5 minutes, probably less than that to be honest. Finally, with my burrito in hand, I headed back to my car. But as I approached it, some obvious fool had parked their car so close to mine that I couldn't even get into my driver's door. It would have been literally impossible. They were probably 6 inches from touching. I was really angry. I walked over to the other side of my car, which also had somebody parked on that side. But when I went to that side, I couldn't get in there as well. They were also parked way too close to me. I was wondering what was going on here. Both of the cars had tinted windows, and I couldn't really see inside. I decided to go over to the driver's door of the first car blocking me in. When I got over there, I looked in the driver's window and knocked on it. I soon saw, though, that nobody was in the driver's seat. This was really annoying me, and it was also slightly creepy. There were so many other parking spaces for them to go. It seemed like they were specifically trying to do this to me. As I walked back over towards my car, I heard doors opening. Then I saw 2 men coming out of the car on the other side of mine. They were large and dressed in all black. Immediately, I knew they were up to no good. I had a sudden idea, and I unlocked my car, then quickly opened the rear trunk door to the back of my car. I jumped inside of it, and with my keys in hand, hit the lock button. The guys reached the rear of my car in no time and started banging on it after trying to open it up. I jumped over my seat somehow until I had made it into my driver's seat. Then I started my engine. Obviously, I couldn't back up and was parked up against a curb. However, I did have 4-wheel drive and it was an SUV, so I said screw it and hit the gas. The car surged forward and up the curb. I then went onto a little sidewalk and then into a bit of grass. I turned and was able to make it back into the parking lot and drove away from the guys. They stayed by their cars and did not bother chasing after me. This remains one of the most bizarre things to ever happen to me, and one of the scariest as well. Not sure what those men had in store for me, but I'm glad I don't have to find out. Before I tell this story, keep in mind that I'm an 18-year-old girl that weighs as much as a piece of lettuce. I also don't have a fierce bone in my body, as I was never taught to handle problems with aggression growing up. So about a few weeks ago, after a crazy rush of people at Chipotle, things finally started to quiet down. I took the opportunity to go out and sweep the floors of the dining room so I could potentially get off early. It had been a really long day. Out of nowhere, this man walks into Chipotle, but instead of heading to order food, he makes a beeline straight towards me. He came up to me and said, "A man outside asked me to give this to you." Then he handed me an envelope. I was really confused, thinking of how weird this was. The man then just walked away and out of the restaurant. Confused and slightly freaked out, I quickly walked into the back and opened the envelope. Inside, there was a note telling me to meet someone at the park that night at 8 p.m. I did recognize the name of the park. Now, here's the thing. This park is just a short walk from my apartment. It's about at the end of the street. And to make things worse, the handwriting was incredibly nice. It was like something you'd see in the 1800s, and really nice cursive. Naturally, I got really freaked out by this whole situation, and I decided not to go. It just felt too risky. I was curious as to what would be at the park, but obviously didn't want to take any chances. That night, I didn't go, and nothing strange happened to me. But then, the very next day, I got this random text message from an unknown number who I assumed had something to do with the note the day before. The person was asking why I didn't show up at the park. I didn't want to engage with this person, so I ignored the message and blocked the number right away. Unfortunately, it gets worse. The following day, I found a note outside my apartment door, and it was from the same person. They were asking me why I blocked their number. Now I was questioning how they got my number and my address. I thought of all the people who could possibly be pulling a prank on me. I even asked a few people who I thought it might be possible with, but they all denied it. They all seemed genuinely concerned about my problem. And besides, how would that explain the random guy who walked into the Chipotle? I had never seen him before in my life. I was starting to feel like I was being watched or something, and it really freaked me out. At this point, I was thinking to myself,
Why are half of scary stories just about, like, creepy men?
that it couldn't get any worse, but it did. The next time I was at work, I had already been there for a few hours. I spotted this guy in a car outside, just sitting there and seemingly watching me. I really don't know how I noticed him, but I did. I had had enough. I figured that this guy had to do something with what had been happening, and I decided to tell my coworker who was working next to me at the time. His name is Ben, and when I told him how it seemed like the guy in the parking lot had been creepily watching me, and he was possibly stalking me as well, Ben sprung into action. This surprised me, but Ben almost seemed like he liked the idea of confronting this guy. He walked right out of the front doors of Chipotle. He marched over to the guy's car, but when he got maybe 20 feet away, the guy quickly backed up and drove off. After this encounter, I never saw the man again.
The fuck?
I never got any more phone calls or notes either. I'm grateful to Ben for going to confront him, and I'm not sure who had been leaving me those notes or watching me, or what they wanted. I really think it was the guy in the car, and maybe he didn't know that I would see him watching me that day. I'm glad I never saw him again, though.
Three true mukbang horror stories animated. The fuck? What is this? What is this genre of food horror? Tinder horror stories? Roommate stories? Says they're true. Curious.
The story takes place 5 years ago, and I'm 23 now as I'm writing this. As soon as I turned 18, I was looking for a new place to live. My parents and I didn't have the best relationship at the time, as I was sort of a hard-headed, arrogant teenager, and we would butt heads constantly. Especially my father and I. I love them both to death, and no, they weren't the greatest parents, as all three of us had our flaws, but I'm just happy we were able to work through everything. Because nowadays, we're doing much better as a family. But for years, things weren't so great around the house. I take responsibility for a lot of the blame, but definitely not all of it.
The fuck?
None of my friends wanted to move out of their parents' house yet, understandably, as most of them had a great relationship with their mom and dad. They all had jobs and were going to college and trying to save up some money along the way, but I, on the other hand, wanted to get out as soon as possible. My parents would always threaten to kick me out when I would get caught smoking weed or drinking alcohol, but every time I packed my things up and left, they would call the police and report me as a runaway. Luckily, I never had to go to juvie, but I sat overnight in a jail multiple times, in a holding cell for a quote-unquote lesson. I never really learned my lesson, though, and unfortunately, I had to learn the hardest way imaginable. I wasn't cocky, just arrogant and hot-headed. So since I didn't know anyone who wanted to be roommates with me, I took a leap of faith. I looked on Craigslist in hopes I could find a cheap place for rent. Stumbled upon a decent but small-looking house that said it was renting for $550. Now that almost seemed too good to be true. I knew there had to be a catch, but I was interested in all the details, so I reached out. When I called them, the lady didn't answer, so I left a voicemail. A short while after, I received a text with the time to come and check out the house and talk to her in person about everything.
Wait, is this the actual
She
house?
wanted me to come that night, so I did. When I arrived, she went over everything with me, and it all seemed to be good so far. I was actually pretty excited about having a place all to myself. She didn't have me sign any sort of papers or anything, though. All she asked was for a small deposit fee, which I managed to scrape up. She said I could move in the next day as long as I had the deposit money. I showed up the next morning to the house, and I met with her so I could pay her. After that, she gave me the keys, and I unpacked my truck and took off. I had some other things I had to do that day. Plus, I had to go back to my parents to load the truck up with a few more things. When I got back to the new rental, it was around 8:30 p.m. As I was rolling up the driveway, I noticed the lady's car was still there. I was really skeptical about that and slightly uncomfortable. When I walked in, she was sitting in the living room on my couch watching TV.
The fuck?
What the hell are you doing here, lady?
Ain't no way.
Not trying to be rude, but what the heck is going on? I asked. Oh, I'll be staying here for a while until I can get my own place, she said. I looked at her like she was crazy, and I was absolutely puzzled. Nowhere in our agreement did she mention that we would be roommates. I asked her how long she planned on staying, and she said only a few days. I was very uncomfortable with this, but I was just so tired and overwhelmed that I accepted it and I just went to my room. I fell asleep shortly after laying down, and that was my worst mistake. I was creeped out by this woman who was pretty much a stranger staying in my new house, but I didn't know what choice I really had. She was at least 65 years old though, so I knew if she tried anything crazy, I would be able to defend myself no problem. Plus, I locked my bedroom door so she couldn't try anything on me
Yeah, I can take this old lady. It's fine. Oh my god.
while I was sleeping, just in case, you know. About 30 minutes after falling asleep, I woke up to some music playing out in the living room. I got out of bed and I asked her if she could tone it down and that I was trying to sleep, but all I got from her was a blank stare. She turned the music down a tad but didn't say anything. I managed to fall back asleep, but what I awoke to was the most creepy and terrifying thing that has ever happened to me to this day. There was a knock on my door. At first, it was very light. Hello, what do you want? I'm trying to sleep, lady. Timmy, wake up, she said. Dinner's almost done. You don't want to make mommy upset. After she said that, I felt this chill run down my neck to the bottom of my back. My name isn't Timmy, so I knew something was wrong with this lady. As a matter of fact, my name is nothing even close to that. I was so stunned that I didn't even say anything. I was hoping she would just walk away and leave me alone. Less than a minute later, she started banging on the door with both fists closed relentlessly, all while screaming at the same time. Let me in now, I swear to God. If you don't, it will be the last of you, boy. I was scared she was going to get the door unlocked somehow, so I scooted the dresser across the room and I moved it in front of the door. I then grabbed my phone and opened the bedroom window and jumped out and ran straight to my truck and drove off. I never even looked back once. I didn't know at the time, but a few weeks later I found out that her son went missing and they ended up finding his dead body. Eileen was the lady's name, by the way, and she was pinned for the murder of her son. There was loads of evidence that she poisoned him. They found him buried in the rental of that backyard.
Fuck.
Her son's name was Timmy. I don't know what the hell is wrong with her, but she's seriously so sick in the head. I don't know if she really thought I was her son or not. Maybe she was trying to relive the whole situation again and trying to murder me or something, but it's hard to say. Or maybe she's so insane that she actually thought I was her son. It feels like a fever dream talking about this even now. This woman was batshit insane, and I'm 100% convinced that if I ate the food she made for me that night, that I would be 6 feet under, just like Timmy.
Seriously, dude. Dodged a fucking bullet there. God. Creepy as fuck. The fuck?
I had just graduated high school in the summer of 2018. I was wanting to get my own place, and I had been saving up money from my job for 2 years to do just that. My original plan was to rent out this cheap one-bedroom apartment that was downtown and right next to the high school that I went to. I had like 5 friends that I knew that were already living there, so it was the perfect place. I would still be close to everyone and everything, literally within walking distance to the grocery store, nearby parks, and pretty much everything else you need on a daily basis. I had saved up $10,000 and I wasn't in any debt. My car was paid off and I was happy to be alive. This was one of the best moments of my life. I applied for the apartment online, and when I was accepted for it, it felt great. It felt great to have my own space where I could enjoy myself in my own 4 walls. Everything took a dramatic turn about a week after living there, though. Remember I was telling you about the friends that I had that were already living there? Well, Aaron and Rob, who were 2 good friends of mine, actually lived in the same building as I did, but on the 3rd floor, just 2 apartments above me, where I was on the 1st floor. They came over a few times and we hung out for a bit. Nothing too crazy at first. That is, until they broke the ice. They started spending a little bit too much time at my place, and eventually, after them staying over for 2 days straight, I kindly asked them to leave so I could have some me time. Really, I just wanted them to leave, and I was trying to hint at that in the nicest way possible. My place quickly became the everyday hangout spot, and I was growing to not like it very much. Especially with me being an introvert. Not to mention, I finally just got my own place, and I thought I was going to be alone much more than I was. That was when Aaron told me that they had just been evicted and that they needed a place to stay for a few weeks. That put me in a really bad position. I didn't want to push them out into the streets, and they sort of tugged on my heartstrings a little, and so I basically told them that they had 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks, and then 2 months. I guess you can say I was kind of a pushover with a big heart for people, especially my friends. Turns out that they weren't really my friends all along, though, and just using me for a place to stay. They didn't respect me or my wishes at all. Every day they would have random people over and be loud as hell until 1 a.m., smoking and drinking with a bunch of random chicks every night. We even had the cops called on us multiple times. I'm honestly lucky that I never got evicted. Eventually, I got sick of it one night when I was trying to sleep. I had already asked everyone to quiet down multiple times, and they were completely ignoring my wishes, so I stormed out of my room and I kicked them out. Every single one of them, including Aaron and Rob. It took me like 20 minutes to actually get them all to leave, but they finally left after I threatened to call the police. I was relieved that they were finally gone, but they left me with a huge mess. I decided to pick it all up in the morning as I was just super tired. I woke up at the ass crack of dawn, at about 6 a.m. with a pounding headache. I walked out of my room wearing only my boxers and rubbing my eyes trying to wake myself up, when all of a sudden, I jumped to oblivion. Aaron and Rob were sitting on my damn couch. "What the hell are you doing, bro?" "Get the hell out of here," I said. "We're not going anywhere. Will you just chill?" "Jeez," Aaron said.
Yo, bro.
I didn't even have it in me to argue with them, so I pulled out my phone right away and I started to dial 911. The cops showed up, but of course, they ran away before they got there. I knew they let themselves in with the spare key that I originally gave them when they first started to stay with me, and they still had it. Huge mistake, I know. I really hoped that would be the end of it all, even though I knew deep down that it probably wasn't. I really had no way of keeping them out, so I did what I thought would work best. I put a huge barricade in front of the door in case they tried to come back. Around 10:30 p.m. that night, there was no sign of them whatsoever. I had just started to forget about them finally, and I got lost into this movie I was watching when all of a sudden, I heard the front door jingle. Oh my effing god, I thought to myself. Not again. When are you two knuckleheads going to leave me alone?
Knuckleheads.
At this point, I was worried for my safety, so I called the police again and I ignored Aaron and Rob at my door. Hey bro, let me in. We're sorry man, please. It's really freaking cold outside. We won't mess it up this time. Just let us stay this one last night and we'll be out of your hair for good. There was something so off about them apologizing. It felt so fake and I got this really bad feeling inside of me. I knew better than to believe that shit though, so I sat and waited for the police. Thankfully, they showed up quickly and actually arrested them both. What's disturbing is what they got caught with in their possession. The drugs were sort of normal for them, but they had been caught with roofie drugs, not just weed. Also handcuffs, an illegal firearm, multiple knives, and a bondage rope, and a few other potential torture devices.
Jesus.
I literally dodged a bullet that night by not letting them in. I got a restraining order put out on them, and my apartment changed the locks for me. I really hope they weren't planning on doing anything to me that night. But man, I don't know. The odds don't seem in my favor. At this point, they seem like potential future serial killers. There's something not right about that. I'm more of the nerdy type
I mean, at the very least, they're rapists.
that likes to focus on school and sports. But sometimes I would indulge in the drinking with these guys. But ever since that night, I swore I'd never touch alcohol ever again. It's left a bad taste in my mouth ever since. I was just getting home from a long day of school and work. It was 9 o'clock at night, and right off the bat, when I walked into my apartment, I noticed that it smelled foul. I immediately walked over to Ryan's room, who was a good friend and roommate of mine at the time, to see if he knew what the smell was. I knocked on his door and he didn't answer. That was weird, because he was always home and he always answered the door when I knocked. So I lightly tapped on the door again and said, "Hey bro, you in there? You awake?" But again, there was no answer. I really felt like barging through, I can't lie to you, but I held back the urge as I wouldn't want the same thing done to me. A couple hours passed and the smell grew more intense. I blew Ryan's phone up, hoping for a response, but he never replied with a single text. I must have called 5 or 6 times, and every single time it went straight to voicemail. This was extremely uncommon for him to do. Before I get into this story any further, I'd just like to add that this really isn't for the faint of heart, and I'm putting a trigger warning for this. So you can't say you weren't warned beforehand. A few more hours passed by, and the smell grew even more intense. It was absolutely wretched, and it started to seem like it was coming from Ryan's room. At this point, I didn't care if he was in there or not, and I didn't care what he was doing. I was determined to get to the bottom of the damn smell. "Ryan, if you're in there, I'm coming in there," I said. Right after I said that, I turned the door handle. I tried to open the door, but of course it was locked. I grabbed a bobby pin from the guest bathroom and I picked through the lock. After messing with it for some time, I opened the door and I was met with one of the nastiest smells you could imagine. I'm talking 20 times as bad as the original odor. It smelled so bad that the odor was practically leaving a stench trail straight to the closet. Horrified, I walked over to it and I opened it up, and what I was met with was next level insanity. I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. There was a garbage bag with an animal leg sticking out of it, and maggots everywhere. It had to have been sitting there for weeks. I about threw up on the spot. I didn't know what kind of animal it was at the time, but it seemed to be a dog. I don't care if I seem like a pussy for this either, because that's just not right. So I called the police immediately and I snitched on my friend, or whatever you want to call it. I explained the whole thing to the dispatcher and the cops showed up within 10 minutes. They went into the closet and they found that it indeed was a dog. It was a beaten to death pit bull with its head nearly completely decapitated. I couldn't watch them haul the dog out without bursting into a panic. I'm a huge animal lover, so it really tore me up to see that poor pup like that. We waited for Ryan to hopefully show up for at least an hour, but he never showed. So the police took off and they told me to give them a call if he showed up. I said screw that though. I wasn't staying in that apartment for another second. What's crazy is, I've never talked to him ever since after that. I blocked him on everything and took all my shit out of the apartment the very next day, and I broke my month-to-month lease. I have no idea where Ryan is or where he ended up. Talk went on around town that he wound up missing, but I could give a shit less to be honest. That scumbag deserves what's coming to him 100%. I'm glad I barged into Ryan's room when I did though, because what if I didn't? What if I would have found out what he had done while he was there? Would he have tried to kill me too? They put a warrant out for his arrest, I believe. I hope they find the son of a bitch. You really never know someone, do you? He was a lifelong friend of mine up until this very moment. I'm talking from first grade to senior year. It still bewilders me thinking back on everything even now. It's hard to believe that the Ryan I knew was capable of something like that. He was sick mentally.
Supposedly true creepy ghost stories. Well, if they're supposedly true, you know.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Tonight's stories are a little bit different than what I usually do. I know a lot of you don't like these kinds of stories, so if you want to avoid this one, totally cool. I'll be back to the usual realistic stories tomorrow. I did want to mention though, these stories, they're pretty far-fetched, and I won't blame you if you don't believe them. They're really just for entertainment purposes, so if you believe them, cool, and if you don't, that's cool too. I did want to mention though, story number 2, there's a warning for child abuse, so if you want to avoid stories like that, now you know. Also, sorry if I sound weird. I don't know what's wrong with my voice. My voice feels dead. I haven't even narrated anything yet today, but my voice feels dead. I did spend like an hour on the phone earlier, so maybe that's why. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy these stories, and let's go ahead and get started. And remember to always stay hungry. I'm a male in my early 30s, and I was 14 when this incident happened. It has been almost 20 years ago at this point, but I will never forget this night for as long as I live. For some context, my grandparents lived in a solid gray stone home that they had built in the 1940s, just shortly after my grandfather returned from World War II. It was symbolic to them of the American dream. It was the kind of home that they fully intended to live in for their entire lives. But as time went on, they had built new additions to make it bigger. It therefore had a weird and unique layout. On one side of the house sat 2 bedrooms, the master and another smaller bedroom. The bedrooms were named for the color theme of the room, with the master bedroom being the blue room and the smaller one being the pink room. Past the bedrooms was a large living room with a creepy ancient grand piano and flowing sheer curtains covering the giant picture window, with stained glass in the center that had bathed the room in pink and green sunshine. Most of the creepiness was the large grandfather clock that shook the house with several chimes, which happened every hour on the hour. Past this room was the kitchen and the original front door to the outside. After my father was born, they had added a large creational room for him and his friends. Later, they converted their outdoor garage into a 3rd bedroom and connected.
You guys putting me to sleep. I can't. Oh my god. Oh, it's so sleeper. Where's the scary, exciting ghost stories? Come on, YouTube. Better than this. That's Sophia Nygaard? It looks like Sophia Nygaard.
Coming up in this
She was just filming a video, it's fine.
video,
What is that over there?
Now we're talking.
calm down, take a deep breath, remind yourself that this too will pass because these 30 scary videos are causing panic among viewers. Number 30,
Curse.
help. While the DJ was
The Daily Dose intonation. Oh my god, I'm dying.
closing a nightclub, he heard something bone-chilling. YouTuber Dark Moose shares this creepy video. Listen closely. You can hear a woman scream. She then starts shouting for help. Also captured in the video is a figure or figures walking past in the background.
Hearing this late at night is unsettling, that even people walking nearby feel unsafe and flee.
Some in the comments are wondering why the crew seems so chill while hearing this scream, and they don't seem to be in any rush to help. Others suggest that this is a common tactic to lure unsuspecting victims into being robbed, or worse, ending their life. I'm not sure what exactly is going on here, but if there's any truth to the last suggestion, I'm now going to be paranoid whenever someone cries out for help. It sucks that we live in a world where we hesitate to come to someone.
No, fuck that. What the fuck? No, fuck that. I don't think it's that common of a tactic. It's probably more likely that a woman is just being attacked.
Someone's aid because it may be a trap, but unfortunately, that's the possibility. Number 29, Hiding Witch. This terrifying clip has me hiding under my blanket. YouTube channel Mosa TV
Blanket.
Info shared a video of some disturbing activity in an abandoned home. Look and listen.
Quick, from the. Quick, we need to go.
Toward the end of the clip, they finally discover who is behind all of this aggressive activity. The home itself looks super creepy, and the activity and witch are also well done, but I think this is a fake. The screaming seems to be a bit overkill in my opinion. Still though, it's got me hiding under my blanket. Number 28, Jin Smackdown.
Blanket.
Redditor Absolute Avarice is wondering if this dude is legit smacking the Jin in this scary video. The clip's original source is YouTube channel, Tommy Amongst the Tombstones. Let's take a look.
This man is not afraid of ghosts. They are afraid of him.
A second clip shows him giving another ghost a
Cut
beat
him.
down. And another.
The lowest quality video possible.
And one more. In all my time analyzing Jin videos, I've never seen someone smack
Fake
or
as
strike a
fuck.
ghost like this, and some believe he's legit.
This man is not
Legit.
afraid of ghosts. They are afraid of him.
Whether real or fake, I think this guy needs to send his application to the Ghostbusters. Stat number 27, Russian flossing.
Oh my
Every
God.
culture has their own
This shit is so cheesy.
trends, and this one's terrifying. Shared by YouTube channel blah blah, and originally posted by TikToker Nika Elez. This scary dance video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. This to me looks like the Russian version of flossing.
Why is it scary?
This dance has become a trend across the Russian-speaking community, and people are capturing it on camera
Why is it scary?
everywhere.
It's just a dance.
Most of the time, it's just the jig, but sometimes there's a
Okay, wow, that took so long.
terrifying twist. Exhibit A.
Jeste dobro. Jebote, šta radi ona?
Exhibit B.
What? What?
And Exhibit C. I'm not sure what the context is for each of these videos, but it appears that the trend has taken a dark turn. Is this just a joke to take this thing to the next level? If so, how far will it go? While I enjoy the dance, this new reinvention is scaring me. Number 26,
Scaring
Wooded Trail.
me.
While walking a wooded trail near their house, Redditor Angel of Souls 25 hears a strange sound. Listen closely. Do you hear it? They believe it sounds like a siren of some sort, and to add to the creepiness, according to the Redditor, a group of crows converged shortly after. Many in the comments don't think it's necessarily paranormal though. I think this Redditor is probably right, but without knowing the natural explanation, seeing crows descend after hearing this would amplify the creepy factor by at least 10 times. Number 25, unidentified flying
Creepy as
object
fuck.
over Reno. Lights over Reno had some people up in arms, but there may be a logical explanation. Redditor Practical Book 3293 shares this scary footage of the incident.
Starlink.
Call your mom and
No?
dad. What is that?
While most would likely be as startled as the guy filming, don't worry, it's probably not extraterrestrials.
Starlink satellite, yeah.
It's stopping to shine.
If you take a look at the still image of Starlink, you can see the resemblance. This is the likely explanation to me. Or is it a fleet of extraterrestrial, unidentified flying objects mimicking Starlink to incept our world? Whatever you choose to believe. Number 24,
knows?
Burned by the Devil. YouTube team, Paranormal Boys, heads into this creepy cave, reputed to be the site in which pagan rituals have been performed, and they're literally burned for intruding. First, some unexplained sounds are heard.
Get through that. This is very creepy. We can get through that. This is very creepy.
As they're communicating through a Ouija board, they hear a growl.
What's that noise then? I don't know, it's like a weird sound.
And then they start seeing things.
Oh my god, I'm not joking. I just saw someone there.
What?
I'm not
Where,
joking.
where?
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Like literally, I just saw a man's face right there. Then.
You know, let's just move around the corners.
While communicating with the spirits again, things get heated.
Did you get set on fire? Oh, bro.
Did a demon just set John on fire? He asks the demon later, but receives no response.
The fuck? Why was he sitting in the fire?
John notes that he wasn't near the candle. While I think this could very well have been an accident, as John was blindfolded at the time, he could have been purposefully burned by the devil himself. I think it's time to stay far away from that creepy cave. Whatever is residing there is clearly not welcoming guests. Number 23. Archive of the Afterlife. While exploring the paranormal museum known as Archive of the Afterlife, YouTube team Spirit Walk Paranormal encounters the afterlife in many forms. The first is a disembodied breath.
I just heard something from that corner.
Next, in the form of shadow figures.
2 shadow figures were captured behind me, coming from the corner where Charlie was placed. At the
Always
time of
the worst
encounter, I could
footage.
feel something behind me, but had no idea what we caught until I was going through the evidence.
That was quite creepy, but I think it could have been the camera capturing a shift in the light. This next movement drives them to interrogate the spirits.
Who moved the white tiger stuffed animal? Who moved that? Can you do it again?
A strange anomaly also shows up in their footage.
Can you finish the rhythm?
I've never seen anything like this before, and it's definitely not a light flare or anything of the sort.
This one looks like a digital flaw to me, as does this next EVP. I do hear a sound here, but I can't make out what they're hearing. As they're doing an Estes session, they hear something again. And then this haunted doll has a message for them.
The fuck? No thanks.
I wouldn't hug this thing, not if you
Aw.
value your soul. Number 22, pushed by a ghost
Guy.
while camping in a haunted forest at night. YouTuber Jasko experiences a paranormal microaggression. Just watch.
Can you come closer to us and like let us know? Oh, what the dude, what the just happened?
Whatever is in that dark forest, listen to Jasko's request, and then some.
Like let us know. Oh, what the
That looked really legit to me, especially due to the fact
They
that he's
said,
holding
"Fuck
his
you."
cell phone, which could have been water damaged. Who would risk it? Not many people can say they've been roughed up by a demon.
Dude, he put his phone in afterwards, though. He put his phone in the puddle again after. Probably waterproof.
But I think Jasko can. Number 21, Demonic Old Hag. After receiving a case about paranormal activity in this resident's home, the YouTube team, the New Reality Paranormal, heads there to investigate. First, they capture an EVP on a recording device.
Tell us why you're haunting this place? Are you a female?
Did you hear a voice right there? Yeah, there's a yeah. Very soft.
Are you a female?
It's right there. Yep.
Then they ask the spirits a question and receive a direct response.
Are you trying to be the main person in this family, the mother figure?
Aunt.
Oh, you're trying to be the aunt.
The spirit confirms her presence.
Can you give us 2 knocks? Like this?
Oh, it was out here? Yep.
Although I didn't hear the knocks on this camera, the team's second camera captures her response
I never hear any of the shit they say they hear.
Clearly.
Can you give us 2 knocks? Like this? Who's out here? Yep, I heard it. I heard the knocks.
Is this spirit knocking on heaven's door? Or is she inviting them to join her? I can't be sure, but for some reason, I feel she shouldn't be trusted. Number 20, fake father. Are the people closest to us real? The YouTube team Life of Luxury is investigating Emily's story about her father. He's changed, and he isn't the same man anymore.
Him talking to someone last night.
Him? You mean your dad?
I don't know, he just doesn't seem like my dad anymore. He called me the wrong name yesterday, and there's something wrong with his skin when I felt it.
As the Life of Luxury team is interviewing the subject, her dad makes his appearance, and he delivers this unsavory looking milk.
So fake, dude.
Milk does the body good.
The guys set up to observe what's going on. While they do, they hear a strange groan.
Okay, so I think we're all good. We can...
At around 3 a.m., this is what they capture in Emily's father's room.
Dad things.
Shortly after, the footage shows the monster entering his daughter's room.
What's he doing in there? Is that someone's arm? Who's he letting in there, dude? Who is that?
Yo, let's go inside. Come on.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
Let's go.
When the guys rush inside to confront him, the other figure is gone, but then this happens.
Look out! Look out! Look out! Help! 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 He's skinned! Where's he going? All right, let's get out. Let's get out. Here. Oh my goodness. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
On their way out the door, they come across what they assume are their father's clothes.
You wait! Are these his clothes? Oh.
And it seems they were
Ew.
right in that assumption.
Yo, look out! Look out! What is that over there?
No, what is it?
What the are you doing here?
While this is obviously not Emily's father, this monster is nothing but a fictional nightmare demon created for our viewing pleasure. Or so I hope. Number 19. Bro
So
says
I
hi.
hope.
Next time you're in nature, take a closer look at your camera roll. You might just catch a forest spirit. Redditor I Like Toby Maguire says that he thinks Bro wants to say hi in this pic captured at the forest's edge in North Carolina.
I think bro wants to say hi.
Do you see it? Look closer.
Do you see it? Definitely
Many
real.
in the comments think
not
the
fake.
spooky face is either photoshopped or is pareidolia. While I could definitely see this being edited, I also think it's possible that it's a bubble floating past, or it could just be the newest, creepiest, scary movie villain. If this photo is real, I'd be staying far away from that forest. Number 18, West Baltimore Warehouse.
Honestly, stay out of the forest in general. Don't go there alone.
Long forgotten and abandoned, this West Baltimore warehouse leaves a lot to the imagination. YouTuber, this is Dan Bell and his team dare to explore the creepy place at night. As he enters one cavernous room, he hears something.
Did you see our door? I feel like I heard something.
Then he hears undeniable footsteps and voices. He is not alone.
Yo, what the fuck?
And yet he continues. As he enters a stairwell, he hears another sound.
It sounded like somebody was on the steps. Do you hear it?
Although I don't quite hear what he's hearing, I do hear someone later as they enter another room. And later on, this happens. I think there are definitely some squatters in this warehouse. While they may mean no harm, it's hard to tell what they might do. It's probably best to leave them alone. Number 17, entities. YouTuber Smug Puppy's poltergeists are at it again, this time with some annoying and incessant knocking.
It's the entity again, here we go. Playing bloody games, knocking. Nothing. Nothing at all. As per usual.
While investigating the sound and coming up empty-handed, the knocking starts at the other side of the
So
room.
rude.
See, that's the front door, I think, yeah. Here we go.
As you may have guessed, the minute he opens the front door, the knocking moves somewhere else, but this time,
Just fucking playing pranks, dude.
something else happens.
What the fuck is that? That definitely sounded like it come from under the bed.
What's under there?
See, I can drop my phone down. Can you see anything? I'll see it when I post it, but I really can't see anything. I hope he's looking at it.
Some people are seeing eyes, but those two reflective spots don't look like eyes to me. They look like something mechanical. Just as the YouTuber starts to think that everything is over, he returns to the living room to find this.
Hopefully that's it, guys. And he's what the that?
While I definitely think there's something paranormal lurking in this man's house, it seems to me that it's just having a bit of fun, nothing to worry about, yet. Number 16,
Yeah, it seems totally fine. Nothing to worry about. You'll just lose your mind.
Hungry Ghost. Imagine getting a notification on your phone only to find this footage. The YouTube team Haunted Real Estate Investigations shares this video captured on a security camera. The homeowners had just moved in 6 months prior. Granted, the angle at which this footage is taken could allow a whole human to hide just out of sight, but the way the cupboards open and close doesn't really look human to me.
What do you mean? It doesn't look human. What does that mean?
Is this family dealing with a hungry ghost? I'd like to see more footage before drawing a conclusion, and until then, if I were the residents of this home, I wouldn't raid the pantry at midnight. Number 15, the Anchorage Villa. This mansion is cursed. YouTube team Paranormal Quest investigates the Anchorage Villa, said to be cursed by the family who built it and by those who eventually resided in what would become a nursing home. The team captures this unexplained noise on camera as everyone is upstairs. As they're talking about previous tours of the place, this happens.
That's like, I know that that's so weird because like the last couple of walkthroughs that we've done, we've heard stuff on the walkthroughs. don't know. That was weird.
Then, while setting up for an investigation, one of their devices goes off. In one hallway, they capture this figure on their Kinect device.
Oh. Hello? Can you bend down and touch that red light just outside the door? Who is this? It was weird because I caught it moving that direction.
It does look like the figure is bending over now. Later, after shutting a door and requesting that the spirits open it again, they hear this strange noise.
Can you try and push it back open?
Then Viva feels something tug on her jacket. As you can see here, her jacket does move slightly as she's standing still.
Viva felt her jacket move, and if you look closely, you can see as she's standing still, the front of her jacket moves towards her body. It's too slight to know for sure if this is unexplainable.
Barely moved.
While doing the Estes method, Dave has a sudden chill.
Oh, Dave, you good?
You alright, Dave?
Oh, it just got like really cold here beside me, and I felt somebody standing there.
Is someone in the Anchorage villa with them? The team's reactions do appear authentic, and I definitely saw Viva's jacket move. I think this place has true paranormal potential. Number 14, 30 East Drive. Located in Pontefract, Yorkshire, 30 East Drive is one of the most haunted places in Britain and possibly the world. YouTube channel Ghosts of Britain shares this security footage captured during an investigation by the Pitch Black Investigations team. Unfortunately, there is no sound, but that almost makes the clip creepier. The crashing on the stairs makes them jump a mile. I don't know about you, but this looks legit to me.
Yeah, they all look legit to you.
The infamous Black Monk is back in action. Number 13. Haunted. Ever have that feeling that someone else is here? YouTuber Exploring with Joe has. I'll let him explain.
Hi guys, got an experiment today, and I used the SLS the other day, and there was a figure lying on the settee. So I'm going to do a little bit of an investigation, just to see if there's anything in my house.
As he speaks to the spirits via the spirit box, his K2 spikes.
Can you say Jean for me, if you are Jean?
Jean is here. Joe gets double confirmation.
Is this Jean I'm talking to?
With the investigation complete, one question remains. Is Jean a good spirit or an evil one? I suppose that would depend on what weird stuff the spirit has been up to in Joe's house. I'd keep a watchful eye on things if I was him. Number 12, Kitchen Poltergeist. YouTuber Sylvia C has arguably one of the most active poltergeists on YouTube. Here's some of her latest footage, captured in the kitchen. Not only does the poltergeist throw lids and open cupboard doors, but it also messes with the trash bin. Imagine trying to get some sleep with all this racket. For a moment it's calm, and then this happens. And for the grand finale, what's this spirit cooking? Fear? I don't know how Sylvia does it. I would have left this home yesterday. Number 11, Octagon Hall. Welcome to Octagon Hall in Franklin, Kentucky. Built in 1862, it still stands today, and it's reputed to be haunted by its history. YouTube channel Hauntings with Hodge explores this unusual dwelling, and as they set up their paranormal
Hauntings with
devices,
Hodge.
they start going off like crazy.
On the top of the steps? Yeah. Is there someone on the top of the steps? What the was that? Did you hear that? Yeah. That was like a group.
Later, they get a message from Harriet on their recording device.
Yeah, it is.
Harriet was the name of one of the home's residents. As the team talks about the recording, Harriet confirms her presence once more.
It's like, I think it was like, my name's Harriet. Like, she's trying to get it out. Here. Oh, thank you.
Is Harriet truly here? I believe she is, and I don't, for a second, believe she's a good spirit. Number 10, Caspian
Why?
Stables Mystery. Here's a true horror story for you. Jane and Bob Durotic lived on a horse ranch called Caspian Stables. Bob Durotic turned up lifeless one day, and Jane was the prime suspect. But to this day, the mystery of who ended Bob's life remains unsolved. YouTube team Mackie and Amanda head to Caspian Stables to try and get to the bottom of this dark case. Their investigation is chill-inducing straight away.
You can literally hear people right now.
Really?
You can hear, hey. Really?
Like they're talking to horses, basically?
And to put us all more on edge, they hear a scream.
What the was that? That was a scream.
Using some dowsing rods, they get some answers.
That was the fastest one yet. Straighten them back out and we'll ask the next question.
But this doesn't seem enough to confirm any theories. As they get ready to leave the creepy horse ranch, they give the spirit one last opening.
This is your, I guess, your last chance to talk to us right here.
What did it say?
Can you say that again? Is there anything else
No.
you want to say?
She's evil.
That's what it sounds like.
She's evil. Who's evil? I think we can guess, but I don't want to point fingers based on paranormal data. Number 9. Skatecliff Hall. Dating back to the 15th century, Skatecliff Hall is a haunted hotel in the UK. The YouTube team, Ghosts on Trent, enters the historic hall to test the waters, and they shouldn't have. Well, we can expect some paranormal activity on an investigation. Here's something scary we don't expect.
I'm hearing a few little squeaks, different squeaks. Oh!
No. He fall through the floor?
In these old buildings, it's actually surprising we don't see this type of thing more often.
Stay still. Stay still. Stay still. Right, time to go. Stay still.
Luckily, Paul was not badly hurt, but it could have been much worse. As the team says, this experience has forever changed how they approach abandoned buildings. Number 8, spirit work.
Be careful.
This spirit must have a presentation coming up. Redditor ZJOSA shares this video, which they say happened to a close friend while working late.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas. Desde allá de la esquina. Mira. Desde hace rato estaba escuchando que se mueve. No mames.
The chair spins on its own. Many in the comments are skeptical and wonder why the woman started recording in the first place. but the Redditor has an answer for it.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas. Desde allá de la esquina. Mira. Desde hace rato estaba escuchando que se mueven las cosas. En serio. No mames.
Many others say her fearful reaction seems legit. I don't want to dismiss this too quickly because I agree that her reaction seems real. I'm going to reserve judgment on this one. Which side are you on here? Number 7, Barlow Institute. While investigating the Barlow Institute, YouTube team Sefton Paranormal Investigations captures what they believe is paranormal activity. Just watch.
You see the little fire exit? Like,
Not the orbs. Not the fucking dust.
what? Oh my god.
According to the team, they placed coins on top of the ball. These coins fell off, and then the ball moved.
You see the little fire exit? Like, Oh my god.
Continuing in their investigation, the crew tried to get the ball to move again, to no avail.
That's whack. It could be a string, I guess, but...
When the entire crew leaves, the camera captures this. They believe it is whistling and a chair moving. While I can't verify this last bit, we all saw the ball move with our own eyes. I'd say that does hint at a paranormal presence here. Number 6. Skidbrook Demonic Church. While exploring the Skidbrook Demonic Church, YouTube team Ghost Encounters Global Events hears something unusual. What was that crack? Take a closer look. Watch closely.
What am I looking at?
That's a tile cracking and shooting across a tombstone. This is so bizarre to me, especially with the close-up. I can't see any logical reason for this to happen, besides demons. Number 5, Poltergeist
only
Activity.
demons.
YouTube channel Panic Attack Scary Videos shares this scary series in which Trevor and Franklin investigate a haunted home. This is what happened in the previous episode.
Are you a good spirit?
Are you kidding me? It just yanked.
Fast forward to now, and Trevor starts to smell something rancid.
What are you doing?
You smell that?
I smell what?
It's like a really... You smell... Can you smell it?
No, I don't smell it at all.
I'm not feeling too well. That's a bad smell. How do you not smell that?
He heads to the bathroom, but when Franklin follows,
You having a stroke, bro?
he's gone.
Trevor. Hey.
He looks around but still can't find him.
Trevor, you need to answer me, but playing around, this is not funny.
On a Steadicam, Trevor finally appears, but he seems off. As Franklin approaches, he feels increasingly freaked out, and it turns out he should be.
Trevor, you need to stop.
Behind you.
The last thing we're left with is this.
The fuck? So fake.
This is obviously a horror short, but it does a great job of keeping viewers horrified. I've learned one thing from this: I don't want to hang out with Trevor. Number 4, pranked by a ghost. The spirit of a young girl resides in this YouTuber's friend's attic, and they've come to investigate. YouTube channel Afterlife Encounters tries to communicate with the spirit. Using a Kinect device, they find the spirit hanging out on the dresser.
Oh, it's sitting right there on your dresser. The spirit was. It's right here. It's on your dresser. It looks like a child.
You can see the.
Although the figure doesn't play any tricks this time or move anything, she keeps reappearing.
Do you stay up here by yourself? It's still there. We take it that this little child, I think it's a little girl. Oh my, there was an orb that came straight up through here.
Is this a game of peekaboo? Maybe. Or maybe this little girl spirit is shy. Number 3, haunted house. This haunted house isn't anything less than terrifying. The Ouija brothers head inside to discover what lurks within. As they first enter, they hear a door bang.
So let's go and have a look. Did you hear that?
I did hear like a boom.
Like a bang of a door or something.
They continue on and stop short again when they hear voices.
I think we should go in the dark. Literally, I heard voices.
In another hallway, they hear a woman's voice.
Yeah, that's like a woman's voice.
With the spirit box on, some confused expressions resound.
Am I dead?
Jesus.
Your phone
Anna
is the one.
Sad.
And while they're communicating with the spirit, they hear an unexplained thud. Then later, this low murmur is heard.
Jace. What? Jace. What?
To me, that was the creepiest bit of evidence in this whole investigation. I'm convinced, with that murmur and the messages through the spirit box, that something horrible transpired in this place. Number 2, demonic voice, submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted. This Redditor wrote, demonic voice at abandoned
Where do they find like all these creepy ass old houses?
insane asylum. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Oh, I gotta get out, yeah. Let me grab my camera. Girl, grab your camera. My camera's in the car. I gotta get that out, yeah. Let me grab my camera. Girl, grab your camera.
There was certainly some discussion about this video in the comments. Paranormal Psychic wrote, if this is actually real, this is probably the clearest EVP possibly ever. While Shuddering Shannon wrote, it said, go grab the camera, in a mischievous child's voice. Did you hear the demonic voice? If so, what do you think it said? Let me know in the comments. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every
Why
week.
not?
If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1, Cemetery Spirit. There's spirits abound in this sea of lost souls. YouTuber Franco TV investigates cemeteries around the world, and in this one, he captures clear footage of a spirit.
But still no sign.
This is one of the most convincing full-bodied apparitions I've ever seen. Here's a closer look.
But still no sign.
And that's not the only creepy thing Franco encounters in this cemetery.
It's always like, why were they filming?
What is this hooded figure doing here? And are the two captures related? My theory is that this hooded man is a cult member, drawing up the spirits from their graves. What do you think is happening here? This scary video is, for sure, causing panic among viewers.
For sure. Okay. I'm sleepy as heck. So sleepy. I'm falling asleep over here. Oops. Wait, was I hiding that whole time? Whoops. My bad. Well, I'm very tired, very sleepy. I'll be back tomorrow for Video Essay Sunday, and then I'll be back off Monday, Tuesday. That's what I'm gonna do. I gotta change my schedule on Twitch too, so that y'all know. But anyway, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. I hope you have a good night, or day, or whatever. Drink some water. Take care of yourself. Have a good one.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions. All the do-gooders in the world, whether they're doing good for others or doing it for themselves, are troublemakers. We white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, British, German, American, have been on a rampage for the past 100 or more years to improve the world. We have given the benefits of our culture, our religion, our technology to everybody. And we have insisted that they receive the benefits of our culture, even our political style of our democracy. You had better be Democrat, or we'll shoot you. Having conferred these blessings all over the place, we wonder why everybody hates us. Because sometimes doing good to others, and even doing good to oneself, is amazingly destructive. Because it's full of conceit. How do you know what's good for other people? We can change society. We can get enormous enthusiasm going out of the idea that there is a revolution afoot, and that this revolution is going to set everything to right. Do you know a revolution that ever set anything to right? Whether the revolution came from the left wing or from the right wing. When we have a great system, and great power to put it into effect, there is always more violence, more bloodshed, more trouble. Diabolical things are done in the name of righteousness. We don't change. We're doing the same thing today, but under different names. We can look back at those people and see how evil that was, but we can't see it in ourselves. So therefore, beware of virtue. We aren't better because we want to be.